What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And finally, here we are. A Stampede 4x4 converted into a Slash. I know I mentioned this video quite a little while ago. A lot of things have been going on. And, I pretty much do these videos just for you guys, just for fun. So I try to get them in when I can. I've been super busy right now, so it's been hard for me to get the time. But finally, here it is. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Give us a like, subscribe, and let's get into this little conversion here. So I will tell you, this is probably one of the easiest conversions that I've ever done as far as any RC goes. The front and rear end of these Traxxas vehicles, they literally come apart in like one whole piece basically. So the whole front end was just all together, boom, done. Rear end was all together, boom, done, same thing. And you pretty much just bolt them right back onto the new chassis. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I got these nice screw-ons for the body. These came off of a set of Integi, whatever you call them, shock towers that I had on the Stampede 4x4. I mean, body mounts, shock towers, they mount to the shock mounts. And then those are screwed onto the Proline body mounts. I wanted the Proline just so I could have that little bit extra body adjustment. Makes it a little better. Lower the body if I need to. Then I got my dust cover here. This is just a cheapo from Amazon, but works awesome. Obviously, you can tell it definitely has been doing its job. Unplug the lights right here. I ended up installing a set of lights on the front and rear, all the way around, so that way at nighttime, the front lights up orange, the rear lights up green, and it matches the Slash perfectly. It looks awesome. So let's start talking about this a little bit. We'll get into here. So I wanted to do a little more power for this thing. I ended up going with the Mamba Monster 2 1/8 motor setup with the Castle 2650 kV. Really torquey, really punchy. It's actually decently hard to control this Slash compared to some of the other Slashes that I was using mine with a couple weeks ago. Mine in the corners, definitely it kicks out really easily with how much power it gets. So they seemed like they were more controlled, specifically just because they were running 2S and they just had the regular VXL. So, and I will say the way that those Slashes come stock, they are set up really nice. Like that regular VXL is the perfect amount of power on 2S for that Slash to be able to just hold it to the track. So, but me being me, I like power. I wanted to go fast. So, regardless. So, first off the bat, we'll talk about what you're going to need to order. So, I didn't have the Stampede, like I didn't have the Slash body mounts. I had my Stampede ones and they weren't exactly intact. My Stampede body mounts were cut in half, and I did some kind of funky stuff to them. I think I was using a axial gravedigger body on it, so I had to kind of makeshift my own body mounts to fit the gravedigger body. So I ended up buying the Proline adjustable ones, and I like that a lot better instead of like the stock ones that don't really have any adjustment. That way, if you want, you can lower the body down a little bit. Any way you can get any part of the RC lower. Just gives you that little bit extra lower center of gravity. Less tippy. especially with these bodies. I mean, they do weigh a decent amount for the size body they are. Obviously, it's Lexan, so it's not super heavy, but again, every little bit of weight matters that you can get as low as possible. So I did end up buying body mounts. The bumpers are actually off of I had them on my Stampede. Those are from T-Bone Racing. They do still make them. I went on their website and I found these same bumpers, which I thought was really cool because that Stampede, I mean, I probably did that, I want to say like 5 years ago, was when I fully built that Stampede, so I wasn't exactly sure if, you know, a lot of these companies were still making parts for this stuff. You know, I know the Stampede isn't exactly as popular of a truck as the Slash or as some of the newer vehicles that have come out, so I didn't know if they were still making parts like this. I was happy to see that there are a lot of companies still making the same parts that they've been making. But yeah, those are T-Bone Racing bumpers, and they fit perfectly on there. They look really good. I mean, I like the fitment. You know, the front bumper sits right there, right in front of the body. Then the rear one's a little bit lower. I mean, I could still get like the cage and stuff for it if I wanted to give it that little bit extra, but I wasn't too concerned with it. I'm not actually doing like any races or anything with it. I'm just, you know, it's just my basher. I'm just playing with it in the yard. Every once in a while I'll take it to you know, like RC Madness or RC Excitement, and I'll play on their dirt tracks or the turf or, you know, wherever. I can bring it places to do that stuff. So, back to the list of what you're going to need. So, we already went over the body mounts if you don't have them. If you don't have body mounts that'll fit the Slash body, I recommend the Proline ones just so you can have that up and down adjustment if you want to lower the body. Next on the list, it's a little, well, I guess the biggest part would be the chassis itself. You're going to need the Slash chassis. So mine being a basher and that I'm using it in the yard and stuff, I wanted the extra clearance, so I didn't go with the low center of gravity chassis. It's just not needed for me where I am going to be jumping this thing. I am going over grass and all kinds of stuff. I don't mind it being that little extra bit of tippy. It's going to do my purpose, and again, running it through the grass anyways, there's always that little bit of resistance, so any way that I can have it that little bit higher just to clear the grass will make it that much smoother of a run for me. It's not going to be bottoming out, it's not going to be dragging across the lawn. So, for my way of using it, the stock, regular, high center of gravity chassis was perfect. So, that's a decision that you'll have to make if you're going to go get with a low center of gravity chassis or not. Next thing I needed to get was the drive shaft. I got the Techno RC wishbone drive shafts. I like those a lot better. I was running the Techno RC drive shaft in the Stampede. Unfortunately, you can't use that one because the Stampede is a smaller wheelbase, so you have to get the Slash drive shaft, a little bit longer. But still, I'm glad to see that they're still making those. So pretty much every part that I took off of this thing, I got to put the same brand back on, which was really great. I was actually really happy that I could do that for this thing. It worked out awesome. Next, when you're going from the Stampede to the Slash, you want to make sure you get shocks. I just went with these OGRC Amazon shocks. They seem to be working really good. Right now, I got some 40 weight oil in them, I believe. And they seem to be doing decent. I might go up to like 50, maybe 60. But for now, they'll do. But they seem pretty smooth so far. I've got a couple runs in on this truck so far, and Happy to say that the only thing that I've really broken on the thing so far is I broke a one of the pins, one of the hex pins when we were at RC Excitement. All of a sudden the wheel stopped moving, and I'm like, why is this thing turning so hard to the left? Pull the wheel off. Yep, the little pin that goes inside the hex broke right off, snapped right in half. That was awesome. And I broke one of the drive shafts, so I had to put on one of the old drive shafts, which is an MIP drive shaft. The other drive shafts I have on there are these Integi ones that I originally put on the Stampede just because they were black and green. They went with everything that I was going with. And they definitely wouldn't have broke with the motor that was originally on it. But with that one, it definitely breaks things. But the cool thing about that too is, so if any of you guys want to do the 1/8 scale size motor, it does bolt right up. You don't have any problems. That bolted right in there. There's plenty of room. You don't have to Dremel anything. It just pops right in, at least with the high center of gravity chassis. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that with the low center of gravity chassis, there is some dremeling. Like, you do have to do some stuff to it. I'm not 100% on that. That's what I heard. So definitely, anyone on there, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure about it. But the Castle Mamba Monster 2 bolted right in there as well. That was a nice clean install. And then I had to get the Slash battery holder too. I had to buy that. The Stampede one obviously isn't going to fit because the Slash is a little bit longer. So you need that. And you want to make sure you get this, it's the adjustable, it's an adjustable one. And you can set it for lower or higher too. So I can set it all the way up here to use like big 4S batteries or 3S batteries, which is what I run anyways. I'm running these Z 5200s. They're not anything crazy. They're not super punchy. But again, for bashing, they're pretty perfect. They're 80C 3Ss. And they do really well. It gives it more than enough power. It gives it enough power at least to break things, so that's how you know that it's pretty good. I do have my Castle B-Link always in there just in case I need to make some adjustments. Alright. Let's move on to the next part. So, I told you need the chassis, you need the drive shaft, you need the body mounts, and you need the body. Everything else from the Stampede after that point will swap over. You don't need to buy anything else. So if you have a Stampede 4x4, body, chassis, body mounts, drive shaft. You can use your tires if you want to. I went and bought, obviously, the Slash tires, or I bought Proline trenchers, which are made to use with vehicles like the Slash. Plus they have the adjustable offsets, the different hubs that you get with them. They're adjustable offsets, which is awesome. So I can take this one out, put a little bit wider of one in if I want to make it a little bit wider in the front or whatever. So the trenchers are awesome. As you guys know, I'm a crawler guy. So for me, when I found out that, they were making trenchers for bashers now, I was like, I have to have them. They're one of the best crawler tires that you can get. I gotta try them in a basher. And so far, they do not disappoint. So, yep. Body, chassis, drive shaft, body mounts. I guess I should say the battery strap. You're gonna need that. Unless you just want to use a Velcro one. And I guess you could technically say tires if you want to go with Slash size tires. So, moving on from that. we are going to actually talk about what it takes to take it apart and swap over from the Stampede to the Slash. So, you got, see them right down in there. There's 2 screws there, and there's 2 screws up front here. You gotta make sure you take those out. Then, if we look on the inside, there's another screw right down there, and then one on the other side as well. Those are gonna go to the skid plates. And then, yep, she's dirty, here you go. And then there's a couple more screws. There's one there, you gotta take those off. You're also gonna have to take those 2 screws right there out. This one and that one. You're gonna have to take those out because those attach to these little pins that go into the chassis. It all attaches together. But then once you have the 2 screws from the top and these pulled out, and then those 2 right there, this whole front end assembly pops right off. Oh, remember to unscrew your steering arm from the servo horn. Otherwise, you're going to be holding on by that and wondering where it's stuck. But yeah, other than that, this whole front end pops right off. Same thing in the rear. You got to remove those 2 screws right there, like I said. And then there's the other 2 screws in the top. Right there. You got to remove those. And I believe that's it. And the back end comes right out as well. This whole back end piece comes right out, no problem. So it makes it that much easier. You have that whole back end assembly, and then you got to undo like this little screw right here to get that little like shroud piece off. There's a couple bolts down in there. It's hard to see, but there is one down in there. You can barely see it, but it's down in there. There's another one right there. You got to undo those in order to be able to pull the motor mount off. And then you get a screw right here, screw right there, and a screw right there, and that pulls off this shroud piece right here. That'll come right out, no problem. And that's all the same stuff on the Stampede. So everything that I'm showing you right now it looks exactly the same on the Stampede, just again, you know, the drive shaft shorter, so the shroud is shorter. You know, this battery strap is shorter. Chassis itself is shorter. Other than that, though, everything is exactly the same. Again, it was definitely one of the more easier swaps that I've had to do. I am very happy that I was able to get it done so satisfyingly. You know, it was something that I was excited to do because I've been wanting to do it for a very long time. I've had that Stampede for probably 6 years, and I used it for maybe 6 months, and I had a 2-wheel drive Stampede that I was having a lot more fun with. And the 4x4 Stampede kind of just sat to the side because of it, and it wasn't as fast as my 2-wheel drive, and I really just wasn't having fun with it. So I kept it, and I was like, you know what, someday I'm going to turn this into a Slash. It took me 5 years to do it, but it was a very simple swap. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, check out our Facebook page too, New England RC Enthusiasts. We have close to 3,000 members now. We do daily posts and weekly banner contests. It's always a great time. There's always plenty of people on there that you can ask questions, and everyone's willing to help. It's a really great community that we have. So definitely give us a shout out, give us a check, and thank you all for watching.